here with more Space Engineers, and as you can see, we're most of the way through our platinum reserves, finally. Oh, let's see here. Okay, so we've been doing a bit of just, some design, redesign stuff. And I'm still trying to figure out how I want to work these thrusters, and the ship scale has gotten to the point where what I want to do isn't going to look, I don't think is going to look the way I want. So what I'm going to do first, well, just so you can see it here, this is kind of what I was thinking, is something that's, offset forward to aft and then run in pairs, and I may end up making this 3 sets wide, so it'll be 6 thrusters by maybe 6 thrusters, actually. I'm not sure yet. That's a whole lot of power though, and if I'm going to bring those kind of thruster numbers online, I'm probably going to have to add some more reactors. And if we do that, that means I'm probably going to take this back wall out, move the whole flooring out, and then put in like 6 reactors or something. Ooh, that could have been bad. So yeah, I'm kind of stuck with what I want to do with the thrusters. And I think what we're going to do in the meantime is let's go ahead and get the ship closed in. At least, figure out what our crew areas are going to look like. Because we have this back section here that still needs to be closed. The area over the stairwells coming up to the 2nd level on both sides. And I think that's pretty much it. And then obviously the front here, of course. And then, so yeah, a lot of stuff to actually get done. Not necessarily that will be done, but things that need to be completed for us to seal the ship up. And I would like to get this actually done this week. And so I'm thinking we may end up with another build montage. If not today, then definitely on Friday to finish off whatever we still need to finish off. But that does get us most of the way of where we need to be. So we're gonna go ahead and figure out, you go what, 3 and then down, and then you're going from there. No, you go 4 and down. Okay. And then that's going to drop down to, which then comes out a few. Alright, so it drops 1, 2. It's going to come forward, drops down, and then there. Okay. I still don't know what we're going to do on that outside piece that may end up being heavy armor. So I'm not really sure yet. Like I said, we don't really have an overall design for the ship. It's just kind of trying and experimenting, see what works, what doesn't, and go from there. Okay, so one of the things that we're going to do is you're going to be where we're sticking a ridiculous number of gyros. I'll probably do something with the blocking in here and have either windows or screens or something so that we can see into it. That's going to be an armor layer there and there. that means we can actually go ahead and start planning to close this whole thing off. Alright. And then you're going to be just basically light armor blocks. We're going to have an armor layer that comes out there. I may just... yeah, I guess we can do 2 layers there. That's fine. And get all of this finally start to closed in. And then we can start figuring out what we want to do long term for the armor, because if we can get this thing actually airtight throughout the ship, that means we can actually start focusing on the armor layer, and we'll do some experimenting with that as to what's going to look good, you know, playing with the positive and negative spaces, and just talk about some design things as we go. Specifically, you know, trying to figure out how we want to greeble the whole thing up. Alright, so let's get a bit more of this in. How much actually, what am I carrying? I'm gonna need more steel. Need more steel plates. So for now, let's go ahead and get this line in. Because we can always come back through and figure out what we're going to do with everything else. Alright. And there. Alright, so if we do that. Just run down the ship here, get these in. And yes, I will say that this is probably going to be a kind of a slow episode because we're really just filling in large swaths even of of the whole armor. I think what's funny is I think I took most of this out just because I could, but for those who have been around for a while, you're going to know I don't like giant flat planes. So we're going to end up doing some texturing on both the interior and exterior. And there is the potential for us to actually drop this down a little bit. Like this may actually become part of the exterior armor. Like the actual armor, not just the envelope. Because we've got a lot of space in here, and because of the fact that I've decided to go ahead and not do the upper habitation areas, we'll be able to drop some of this roofing in. You know, we've got, what, 3 blocks of height here that we'd be able to reduce if we wanted to basically bring the roofs down a little bit. So instead of having this space line here, that would actually become the roof line, and then we drop this entire assembly down a bit, but we'd keep the windows where they are. So that's what I'm wondering right now. Yeah, basically contemplating at this point is, do I want to bring the roof down another layer? Which in the long term wouldn't be a bad idea because it does offer that much more armor. But, you know, it's like, do I really want to do that? That would be out of plates. Yep. Okay. Let's go drop stuff off. Need to keep our eyes on what's going on with our health. And you guys. Drop all of you. Alright, so if we go in here, we go. Alright, what do we need? Motors. Alright. Let's see if there's any floating components in here, because when Bob picks stuff up, he does enjoy dropping them in random spots, but I'm not seeing anything. Okay, so... well, I can get plates inside. I need to go get energy anyway, right? Alright, so grab some power. May as well go ahead and grab stuff out of here. Let's grab... Let's grab like 500 of those, 100 of those, 100 of those, and 10 of those just because. Alright, so what I'm thinking here is we're going to do the absolute minimum to get this thing airtight. And since we're actually planning on having like sloped areas, I'm actually going to frame in without the slope. So if there's an area that we're going to have a like a 2x1 ramp on, we're just going to do the outline for it without putting those in. And then the idea for that is that way I'll know from the interior space exactly what I'm looking at for clearances, and so we can go in and sculpt the hallways and such, just to make it look a little bit better and to flow a little bit easier. And then that way what we will end up with is that if we need to use the armor to actually seal the ship, we'll know ahead of time. It won't be a surprise like if we start doing things and, you know, I cut into a wall and suddenly we're void, you know, open to the void. That's something that I'm trying to avoid happening. But we'll see how that all actually works out once we get a little further along. And then for here, we're talking about just basically sealing this off. Now, what I may do is when we're working here, I may decide that I want a window in here. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of already wanting a window in here. Come on. You and your damn random targeting. And so what we'll do is we'll actually sculpt that into the armor a bit. So just like we did with the observatory looking out into the hangar space, or the hallways looking into the hangar space, we'll basically cut around the blocks to make them fit the areas that we want them to fit. I'm thinking we may do the... Does that take us to there? It does, okay. And so what we're talking about here is that we've been do that out to this edge. And so when we come back to fill all of this in, like for the armor pieces, we just have to place whatever armor we want there and repeat that for as many layers as we want. So if we want to have 3 layers of armor, we'll boost this up 3 and do that to all of these. Makes it much easier because then we can just come through on the final piece and actually make everything fit the way we want it to fit. Man, it's hard to believe we're getting to the point where we're actually almost having this entire thing sealed in. And then again, there's very possible, and it's a very realistic possibility, that I am going to end up putting some windows in this stuff. But for now, this actually will get us a little bit, you know, closer to what we're looking for here. And for the folks that don't know, yes, I end up doing this quite often where I'll just build a big box and then I start cutting spaces into it to sculpt it. I'll remove the blocks to get the lines that I want. think I want that to be where the line drops down. And you are 1, 2, 3, so you're going to be 1, 2, 3. Alright. I did that, huh? Okay, we can do that. That's fine. I know what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put these in and make sure that we have the headroom that we need to get in and out of here. Because, oh, yeah, okay, we do. But I don't like that there. I want that to stay up one line then. Alright. And that's kind of what we're talking about as far as checking the spaces, right? So since we know that that isn't going to work the way we want, we'll bring you back one more line. And that comes down. And that means you guys are going to come down to that point. And that means you guys come out to this point. And then that leaves all of you right there. Alright, so now if we come through, okay, so that line is, okay, that's better. And yeah, okay, that works. Which means you come out, you come out, you come out. And that's going to bring us to there. And bring that to there. And basically each layer has to come out by one more. Alright, and then that gets us flat. Yeah. Let's get rid of that for a second. Which means we can open this layer up a little bit. And that layer up. And open that layer up. Okay. Which then gets us up here, which is also going to get closed in. Alright. Let's go ahead and get this in. And there, all right. And we already know that this area is going to fit. And I don't know what we're gonna do for this. Because what I'm currently thinking is that we're going to end up with something that will basically roll into the overall back sweep here. That swept back design. I'll just go ahead and bring you out here for a second. just to give us a place to tie into. And we'll have you come across just because we can for right a second. Hi. Ah! Come back, my plate. So if we do that, tie you across. This is just to get a little bit of a feeling for basically what this is going to look like when we actually tie it all together. So you're doing that. I'm thinking because of that we will go ahead and bring that in. Get a few more of these in here. Oh, that was 500 plates already. Okay. That went quick. All right. So, all right, let's head in. We'll grab some power, grab some more plates, and we'll take another look and see. All right, so let's look here. Yeah, so I think what we have, I think that'll work. So we'll need to weld this up. Actually, it's within range. Let's go get, let's go, actually, no, I could have done that from in there because I was already in there. All right. Yep. One of those nights. It's coming up on midnight my time. So, deal with it. Oh, let's see here. Let's get you guys on. And that should get Bob welding. It is. All right. So let's take a look here. All right. So if we come through, and so basically what I'm saying when we're talking about the hallways is I'm going to do something like this. We're going to carry the theme through. But there are things like wiring and pipe mods that work on small grids, and we're going to basically cut into some of these things and have some of that stuff run through here as well. There was a couple of people, by the way, I want to thank for passing some links over. They had found some interior, well specifically interior use blocks for some detail work. And so I was aware of some of those blocks, and some were some new ones, so I want to thank you for that, because I'm always looking for new blocks to deal with. So, you come up here. It does feel a little tight. It's okay, that'll work. You don't need a whole lot of room there. You come up here, and it is a better head clearance. I know, it's hard to believe we're getting this close to where ship is almost completely sealed in. Yeah, we still got a lot more to do. I'm just trying to keep my spirits up on this build, right? No. No, I'm actually enjoying this build a lot. And from what I've seen from the comments, a lot of you seem to be enjoying it as well, so I'm happy about that. Do I want to go ahead? Two, three, four. I think what we'll do, let's go ahead and take this out for right now. We're going to head, and we'll start getting some of the, I guess, that would actually have been prudent. Yeah, because if we're doing that, we'll end up with that being there, which, I mean, we can get away with this instead. Let's see how that feels. I think what I want to do is have this be so 1, 2, 3. I think I want to do this instead with it. And then here oh, I like that much better. It just feels like it's a better flow through here. And then if we go so if we do that, and then we have say something like this. Let's see how this looks. So basically what we're going to end up with is the inverse of what we have for the stairs. You're going to go there, and then you're going to go there. And so we'll have that. All right. Now if we come down through here, that still works. And how about if we then take that out, and we go Should we bring that in? Let's bring it in to there, I think. See how this looks. Let's see how that feels once everything is... Oh yeah, I like that. I like it. Okay, that'll work. I think that'll actually work really nicely. Now what we can probably do is bring this down a bit further, just to follow this line down to where it ends basically in line with this. So we'd end up with something this. And you're going to come in the line there. 2, 3, 4. So we can actually do something like that. I may end up closing that off. I like having it open. I may just go ahead and take that line out. So that ends up being something like that. And then what I'm thinking here is that we'll have basically something like this. That. And again, just to get this a little closer to being done. Let's go ahead and do something like that. And again, probably going to put a window here looking out. Not sure what I'm going to do with these. I left them open just because I could for now. So what I may end up doing is I may do a couple of, what is that, the conveyor frames to bring this up one block, and then do the medium conveyor pointing it aftward, and maybe put some more fuel tanks in or something, because that would allow me to have a lot more storage back here for fuel. But for now, How do I want to do this? I mean, I could even have this be set up to be piped in for an upper area for our reactor room. Engineering. I had you come out. There. Ah, crap. Are my tanks out? Weird. Alright, so let's go. Go ahead and refill you, thank you. Let's get our health back really quick. And then as you can see where it's starting to shape up with where we're going to have some of our lines on the let's look at the side profile. So you can see where some of the lines are starting to come together. So what I'm thinking is, how do I, because I'm still trying to figure out how do I want to work the thrusters into this. On the front profile, we have the thrusters down there on the mandible area, on the tips of the mandible. And I'm kind of tempted, and the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm actually kind of liking this idea. So I'm thinking on the big flat face that we have in where the lower stairs come into the lower observatory or observation deck, face that out so that it ends up looking like large intakes, like the intake on a thruster or something. And then we have the thrusters mounted in the back, so basically it looks like it's a giant scoop. I'm thinking that might actually look pretty good. And then we shroud the entire thing with the heavy armor. And then we'll do like cutaways and such. But I'm thinking that might look pretty good. Head out here and I'll show you a closer view of what I'm talking about. So you know how we have this big flat space here. And what we can do is, let's see, maybe the blast doors. These could be kind of cool. And let's go carbon fiber, huh? And so you would have basically a shroud that may end up coming out to like here or something like that. But you'll end up with blocks like this. So you end up with something along these lines, not necessarily exactly like this, obviously, but just to give you an idea what I'm kind of thinking here. Let's get this stuff out of the way. And so when you have an overhang on this, let's go, sure. And again, this isn't necessarily what the final product is actually going to look like, just to give you an idea. We have and then we have an outer shroud. Here. So maybe something that comes out. Let's just get this in place really quick. And so you end up with, say, something that might follow the same general lines that we have on the upper side. And so then you have something that goes something like that. And then because we have enough room in here, we could actually have, yeah, some negative space in there that maybe has, I don't know, like lights in there. We could actually put maybe a small rotor or like spinning, like rotating lights or something. So, and again, like I said, this isn't the actual design I'm talking about, but it'll at least give you an idea of kind of where I'm thinking. And so as you can see here, we have, you know, the offset layers of armor, and there might be another outer layer of shroud that says, I don't know, comes out to, say like that, maybe. And then comes forward a couple of blocks, and then repeats the same. And so we go one like there, one like there, one like that. But just to give you a better visualization of kind of what I'm talking about here. And so that way you end up with, you know, some negative spaces in here, you end up with some positive spaces. And all of this will come off at some point, but for now it should serve its purpose to illustrate what we're kind of talking about here. But yeah, so you end up with something like that. With the armor shroud, and then obviously this will actually, the whole vent design will shift over to fit better in the space. And then we'll probably have the armor fold over the ship a bit. So maybe you'll have, say this line will come through and this will be our baseline. And maybe have the armor wrap here. So we could end up with something like this. And just to give you an idea, this would actually come around up here. So you see how it's like folding around the ship. And then what I'm thinking is that this will give us that much more room to have positive and negative spaces where we'll be able to build up or cut into as we need to. And then this will all be heavy armor once we get to that point. But I think that should look good. I'm thinking probably move this entire thing forward. Thinking maybe to there, so that the leading edge on this is about there. And then, like I said, we'll basically move all of this up. Cut in behind it, put in some lighting and such, greeble it out a little bit, and that gives us a lot more space to come back on. And then from there, we'll be able to figure out what we're going to do with like the thrusters and things. But you see how it's all starting to hopefully starting to come together for you. And then the lines that we develop here will repeat down here to carry the general shape forward. At least to this point. I'm still not sure what we're going to do with this. I mean, we can, obviously, it's set up to do the 2x1 ramps to give us a nice smooth line on the way out. But I may bring this out one more. So basically have it go to there. Yeah, that might work actually. Because what I'm thinking is we'll have this come out and then have this one maybe cut in so that we have that kind of play on it. Because if we do that, have you guys come through here, we could do something like this. Where it ends up with that being
energy low.
I'm out of plates again. Yeah, I'm actually I think I like that, the way that's gonna come together. And then again, all of this will be heavy armor blocks out here. Probably multiple layers thick. But just to give you an idea what we're talking about for final line here. And then that'll bring, basically that line will come out further. So if we move that all over, bring that line out a little bit further and have it enfold the rest of this. Let's grab some plates. Actually, let's grab some power first. And we're in here so we can actually grab plates while we're here. Have to go grab some more iron. or a lot more stone. I mean, there's plenty of iron out there. I just have to go make the trip to pick up iron specifically. Alright, so what I'm thinking here is wherever this ends up terminating. So maybe we do something like this. And you are there, so let's actually go and then that brings it down. And then we can maybe do something like this, where it folds back under. And if we go just trying to get an idea here. We do that and bring that down. That actually matches up to it. All right, I think that'll work actually. Anyway, on that note, I am going to get out of here. I want to thank you all for stopping in. You know the drill if you enjoyed it. If you didn't, you have comments. You know where the buttons are, you know where the section is, leave those comments, so do so. On that note, I'm going to get out of here. I hope you all have a fantastic day. Enjoy the rest of the week. Thank you for stopping in and hanging out. I had a lot of fun. Hopefully you did too. Yeah, so anyway, as always, folks, take care and be safe out there, everybody.